Steve Harris, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. I mean, you've done a lot of great projects over the years, but I want to know, like, BMF falls into this new kind of class of TV show series that we're starting to have, telling all these stories but with black creators that just, if you go back 10, 20 years, there was just a lot less of it, you know.
Yes.
I just want to feel like, as an actor, like, how does that feel to walk into this space now where there's so many of our stories being told all over the place, compared to when you first started in this.
Well, I think BMF is unique in this is that it's trying to loosely base it on real people, the things that really happen, and I think that makes it a little bit different. It gives it a little more foundation, a little more gravitas, for lack of a better term, right? Doesn't hopefully our interpretation makes it better, but that may not be the case. I haven't seen many of the shows. Here's the thing I want to say. Being around television and being on and off for a myriad of years, having the opportunity to see us on with all of these different uh, networks and streaming and cable and all this kind of that we should take full advantage of telling all of our stories.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's in having them be heard and having somebody willing to tell those stories. Like if you want to be able to tell, uh, like Archie Bunker, the Black Archie Bunker, you should be able to tell it. Tell that story. Why not? We all know in our community that we have a bunch of those cats, older cats that sit around and tell you everything and think they know everything and are so behind the times that it's almost comical, right? You have the opportunity to do that. I'm not afraid of having us tell these stories. I think ours is a little different because of the reality it's based in. And that's about it.
And you go through annals of sports and everything else. There's few times where there's two brothers or sisters that are succeeding, and on a top level in sports or on TV, to me.
Mm-hmm.
And to have you and Wood both have had these successful careers, I wonder, like, how did that start, and like how did the Harris household produce these two fine actors? Like, what was going on?
Bro,
Was
I
y'all play
that
acting?
I can't even say it's maybe it's in mama's cooking. Tell you the truth, I'll be honest with you, man. I started out wanting to be I wanted to be a professional athlete. That's what I saw. I went to college to play football and that sort of thing. My brother was clearly, he was always more artistic and was actually a very good basketball player. And he was in the rap game early. His group name was Fruit of the Mind, which I want to give him a lot of credit for. Real when he was real young, we talking, high school, college, he was doing that, beyond. And then when I got into it, I had a love. It was the thing that gave me as much juice as playing football, to be perfectly honest. Being on stage at the time and figuring out, and then later, as I started to create my career in New York and doing film and television, it gave uh, I found what I was supposed to be doing, for lack of a better word, and I actually really enjoyed doing it. My brother, at the same time, was a very creative person himself, as I pointed out, with many different venues. His first, what's the movie he did with Tupac? He did his first movie with Tupac and the basketball
Above the
movie.
rim, above the
Above the
rim.
Rim. Thank you,
Yeah.
bro. He go slap me in a minute, man. We go get at it. Above the Rim, when he did it, the funny thing about Above the Rim is that my uh, agent at the time called me and said, we got this basketball movie, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, okay, cool. I said, but I think my brother would be better for it. I was still living like a football player. My brother played basketball and he's coming out. He's about to start at NYU. I said, it'd be perfect. He's going to start at NYU, his graduate studies there. They want him and then do this movie. And the agent said to me, he said, well, we don't like to do that. And I looked at him, I said, listen, man, that's my brother, man, period. The reality of it is, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't care nothing about you compared to him. So you might as well put him in because, here's the thing. Think of it this way. You got two opportunities to get money. I'll go in, he go in. I actually didn't go in. He go in and do his thing. And if he gets it, great. If not, he's going to NYU and you get an in route to getting him when he comes out for what he's doing. And my brother ended up booking that. before he started his grad school studies, and really sort of, he went and took it, and then took it by the horns from them. So I'm, really proud of him. I'm also proud that we actually finally got an opportunity to play opposite each other in his BMF, which I'm very grateful to Randy Huggins, who's the creator and put it together, for 50, who has a lot of love for our work in the past, and who was really a driving force in making sure we had a scene with some magnitude to it together. And it's always going to hold a special spot for me. That's a long-winded answer to your question beyond, I think, what you wanted. But I think much like this show, me and my brother, we've always been family first, no matter how you look at it. And so when we got this opportunity to get into this field, we never thought about like failing. That was like never sort of a conceptual thought for us. It was like, okay, we're going in, let's just go in. We'll figure it out. And we've been very fortunate and blessed and humbled by the people who really support us through thick and thin the whole time. And I'm sure many of these people are listening to this, and maybe will watch this down the road, and let them know that I appreciate you a great deal for supporting my career over these last years. Continue to do so. And I'm gonna speak for my brother on this. We both really appreciate it. And I thank you for allowing us to be in your homes, on your TVs, if you go to the movies still. I really appreciate you allowing us to be there.
Well, I'm sure they really appreciate you. You also. I got another question. Like,
please.
How so were you surprised about how BMF resonates and other, because I know like some people didn't know the story from being on, like if you was Atlanta, Detroit, you probably had a whole different experience with BMF. But just as an actor getting into this role, were you surprised that like when y'all went to the Atlanta premiere and whatever else that people have a whole attachment to what happened with BMF?
I gotta say, I'm not surprised in that regard. I'm glad they showed up, but I'm not surprised because these cats were pretty electric in their time in the 90s, right? These were the first cats that sort of made it rain at the clubs and showed up, and they were loud, and they showed up and they showed out, and people support them. In Atlanta, people still talking about like, oh man, because they paid it forward their situation. I'm pleasantly surprised, but understanding at the utmost that this is a family show, right? You got it. When you get that, if we get that out, this is what I said before the show ever came out. If you get that this is family, we gonna have a chance, because that's what it is. They got a mom and dad at home that they're doing the best they can. It just ain't enough for what they want to be, right? They're not going to be held back because they have to do a 9 to 5, for lack of a better term. So to me, I knew if we touched that these brothers were doing this thing, we touched that, mom and dad, we touched family, we touched all of that. People get enamored by the glitz and glamour. But I thought, to me, that's the dessert. I thought the meat and potatoes, you got to get into what drives that. And if we got into that family thing, then I could touch everybody, because you can see in your own family, all of us have people that have chosen to go to the left and are unapologetic for it. It's just what they do. Yeah. And they don't bring the stuff into your house, but you know it. And as long as they keep it over there, family, you invite it over, right? These are decisions that we make. And I want to be clear, this isn't just a Black story in that regard, but it's just that we want to call it organized crime when it's the Italians. Or we want to call it we give it special Yakuza or something when it's the Asian. We give it these nice special names when it's from another culture, other than what do you call us? Drug lords. So we give them better names and we give them better whatever. But the reality of it is that that's what it is in all of these different communities. It's not different. That's part of the bloodline of the United States of America. We want to be honest about it.
Yeah, well, it's a great success story that that's showed what can happen. I mean, what's happened in Detroit and how, like you said, a lot of us got paid for it, and to see Lil Meech being able to have this acting career birthed out of this story and see you guys all on screen is amazing. Thanks for taking the time, man. I always love seeing, you know, you and Wood on the screen. I always feel like you guys give personal like performances that it's like somebody you know, like you feel like we know you when you're on the screen. So like even in this show, I felt like, you know, I know you. So I'm always rooting for you, brother. And have a good weekend, man. Thanks for
Hey man, appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. It's very gracious. Appreciate it.